Hi everyone, welcome back. We're learning about the platform framing system, and in this video I'm going to focus on roofs. You're going to learn a lot of roof vocabulary, and then we're going to look at some of the ways that they are framed. Let's jump right in with that roof vocabulary. And the first piece we want to learn about are the roof forms. These are the general shapes of different types of roofs. And as you can see, there are a lot of them. But there's only a couple very common roof forms for residential buildings. So let's take a look. They're the ones that I've circled on here. So number one, you can have a flat roof, right? Self-explanatory. Number two, a shed roof is a more common way to say than mono pitch. And that's just one slope in one direction, right? The water sheds off of that roof. Our next very common roof form, number four here, is a gable roof. And this has two pitches, all right? It's basically two shed roofs coming together at a point at the top. And our other most common roof form is number 9 right here. 9 is a hip roof. And it kind of, if you're going to cut a section right through the middle here, it would look just like the gable. But the ends are different. They are tipped in, and this edge right here is called the hip of this hip roof. So we see this on a really simple box floor plan right here, but much more complicated homes and roof shapes can be built, and they're a combination of all these different shapes. So if you drive around and take a look at all of the different roofs in your neighborhood, you'll probably see a lot of different combinations of shed, gable, hip, and possibly also some flat. Next, let's keep going with this roof vocabulary by talking about the different names for the different parts of a roof. All right, and we're going to start up here with the ridge. The ridge is this line right there. It's kind of the horizontal peak piece of two sloped roof planes. So we've got a couple other ridges in this example right here, and right here on this little dormer. Next, we have a valley, and it's this green line right here, a valley. So if a ridge is this piece, a valley is this one, all right? It's kind of a V-shaped channel where two sloping roof sections meet, and it's a V in the downward direction. All right, next, let's learn about a hip. This is an edge of a roof plane, and it's sloping. All right, so this piece right here is called the hip. We've got one right here as well. Next, we have a dormer. This is a little pop out. All right, it's a structure projecting outwards from a sloped roof. You'll really commonly see a window right in there. All right, those are dormers. Next, we have a gable. All right, and the gable is this triangular piece right here. You could also hear this called the gable end wall. It's a little confusing because this roof shape is called a gable, and then this kind of blue triangular piece is also called a gable. It's the end wall that's under a gable type roof, right? It's the triangular portion right there. Next is one that you probably haven't heard before, and that's the rake. The rake is going to be the angled edge piece of a roof, and it's highlighted in orange here. It's sloped, it's angled, and it's the edge of that roof panel, all right, that's going this way. Here's the edge, and it's a rake. The eave is also an edge of the roof. We've got two different edges. We've got some sloped edges, they're called rakes, and we've got horizontal edges, all right, and those are the eaves. So the eave is this flat horizontal edge of the roof. And then hard to see because it's underneath, all right, the soffit is going to be underneath the eave. It's the exposed underside of the roof at the eave section. And the only place you can really see it is right here in this image, right? So we're looking under the eave, that's the soffit. Now that we have this vocabulary, let's talk about some characteristics of the different types of roofs. Starting with the flat roofs. Flat roofs are really efficient at covering any shape or size building. It's one of the reasons that you'll see them a lot in commercial and larger buildings. Flat roofs require a continuous membrane roofing material. So waterproofing, very, very important because they don't naturally shed the water. You have to pay close attention to this and provide a continuous membrane to protect your house below. And interestingly, a flat roof is not truly flat. All right, if you dropped a marble on it, it should roll. And that's so that it does shed water and you don't get pools and ponds up on your roof. The minimum recommended slope for that flat roof is really small, though. You won't even notice it if you're standing up there. It's a 1/4 inch drop for every 1 foot of run, all right, or 1 in 50. All of our other roof types, the gable, the hip, the shed, these are all sloping roofs. Now, sloping roofs have a long history on houses. They're very popular because they naturally shed water, right? It just rolls right off. And, but we do have to worry about water intrusion at penetrations, like if a chimney comes through a roof, right? And joints, for example, when 2 different roof planes come together, there's a joint. Sloping roofs can be built with rafter or truss framing systems. Hey, we have some more roof vocabulary. Sorry, there's lots of words to learn about roofs. All right, the first piece we want to learn about is slope. That is the rise over run of this sloping or angled piece of the roof. All right. And we would write this as a ratio. For example, this is a 4 in 12 roof, right? And we would write it 4 in 12. We'd say it 4 in 12, right? And sometimes you will see a little symbol. It looks like this, just one of them. I put a bunch of them here, of a little triangle, and it would, for every 12 inches horizontally, that's the run, it will rise 4 inches. Right. And you can have different slopes. You can have 3 in 12, 4 in 12, 4.5 in 12, 6 in 12. You get the idea. All right. Our next vocabulary word is span. And the span is the distance between supports. So in this case, we're looking at a rafter system, and that rafter is spanning between the exterior wall of the house and a ridge beam. All right, so the span is this distance from here to here measured horizontally between those supports. Our other example here is a truss system. Remember, we can have roofs built out of rafters or trusses. Trusses have some specific vocabulary, right? This member right here is called the top chord. It's spelled the same way as a chord in music, all right? Top chord. Here's another top chord. And then this bottom piece is called the bottom chord. Right? The other pieces in the middle are all called web. These are the web. And this one right here in the center has a special name. That's the king post. Right? There's a bunch of different types of trusses, different shapes. Not all of them will have a king post. The place where the truss rests on its supports, right here, this is called the bearing point. Got one here, one here. And again, the span of that truss is between its supports, so between its bearing points. And you can see that this one is spanning all the way from here to here. All right, let's learn how these roofs are constructed. Coming back to this section cut of a platform framed house, we're going to focus on this piece up here, which is the roof. And zooming in on that detail a little more closely, you can see that the wall comes up here. Here is the double top plate of that wall. These are the ceiling joists coming across here, and these are the roof rafters, all right? And both of those are going to rest on that double top plate, so the weight will bear down on that wall system. Looking in 3 dimensions, let's take a look at this detail. I apologize, it's a little bit fuzzy here, low resolution. Here is that wall system below. So we see the wall studs. Here is the exterior wall sheathing, probably a sheet of plywood attached on the outside of those studs. And here's the double top plate at the top of the wall. Next, the ceiling joists will come in and rest on that double top plate. Here's the ceiling joist. Here's one here. Okay. And then the angled rafters will also come in, and they are resting on that double top plate. Notice you have to cut a little notch in the rafters in order to get them to seat onto the flat top of that double top plate. Otherwise it doesn't work. For some reason, the name of that little notch is called a bird's eye. I don't know, I always thought it kind of looked more like a bird's beak to me, but anyway. And for stability, these ceiling joists are going to be nailed, they're going to be connected to those roof rafters. If you have a closed soffit, you'll add these pieces right here in order to attach a panel below them and close off that area. All right, everybody, in this video, you learned about different types of and shapes of roofs, a whole lot of vocabulary pertaining to roofs, and we finally looked at the platform framing details of how those roofs are constructed. Thanks.